There are quite a few members of the grouper family. The most commonly caught grouper species in the United States are gag grouper, red grouper, Goliath grouper, black grouper, and scamp grouper. While they vary slightly in habits by species, they will be covered separately later. For all intents, they can be covered together. Grouper are a structure-oriented species that are usually found on the bottom. Wrecks, reefs, natural ledges, navigation markers, bridges, and areas of hard bottom are top locations. Grouper hide in these structures and then ambush unsuspecting prey. Grouper are opportunistic feeders and will eat just about anything, including bait fish, crustaceans, and squid. In a complete oversimplification, grouper fishing is not complicated. Anglers fish live or cut baits on the bottom near structure. That is really all there is to it. However, as in all fishing, there are nuances and specific techniques that will improve the success rate. While grouper can be caught in the inshore waters, the vast majority are landed by anglers grouper fishing in the open Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico. In cooler water they will be found closer to shore, often within a few miles from the beach. In warm weather, and very cold weather, grouper will move out deeper. Grouper fishing tackle needs to be stout. This is definitely not finesse fishing. Grouper are almost always hooked near some type of structure. The grouper will dive into holes and other areas, cutting the angler off. Therefore, the fish must be turned very early in the battle. This cannot be accomplished with light tackle in most circumstances. Grouper fishing is really basic bottom fishing. Therefore, a few simple rigs will get the job done. A sliding sinker rig, also known as a Carolina rig, is used by many anglers. The leader length can be a few feet long or 20 feet long, depending on the depth and water clarity. Generally speaking, the shallower the water, the shorter the leader. The sliding sinker allows the grouper to pick up the bait without feeling any resistance. A dropper rig or chicken rig can be used when grouper fishing as well. It is a good choice when drifting and works best with pieces of cut bait. It is also a great option when snapper species and other desirable bottom fish are a good possibility. The basic rule of thumb is to use the lightest sinker and smallest hook that will get the job done. Conditions will dictate the weight needed. Water depth and current speed along with wind speed when drifting are the primary factors. 2 ounces up to 8 ounces are commonly required. Sliding egg sinkers are most often used. There are many different choices when it comes to hooks for grouper fishing. Most anglers now use circle hooks. In some areas, such as the Gulf of Mexico, they are required. Circle hooks greatly increase the survival rate of released fish. 10/0 is a good all-round size. Grouper are opportunistic feeders, they pretty much will eat anything. Just about any legal fish can be used live or cut up. Anglers often stop on the way out to load up on squirrelfish, grunts, sardines, ballyhoo, threadfin herring, blue runners, or other small fish. A large live shrimp is a terrific bait for groupers and snappers. Pinfish are Available on the inshore flats and at bait shops and are a productive grouper fishing bait. Frozen bait works very well for grouper, sometimes even better than live bait. Spanish sardines are a top bait, as they put out a lot of oil and scales as they thaw. Squid is a great universal bait that catches everything that swims. Mullet, bonito, mackerel, and other oily fish make good frozen grouper bait. Artificial lures can be used effectively for grouper, and that will be covered in a later section. So, with everything else ready, it is time to go fishing. Grouper are bottom species. Anglers closely guard their favorite grouper fishing spots. While public numbers will produce, the best spots are ones that anglers find on their own. These are much less pressured and can remain productive for decades. One excellent way to locate ledges and other bottom structure is to troll. I personally have found some of my best grouper fishing spots while trolling for king mackerel. It is easy enough to save good-looking marks and then fish them at a later date. Once a spot is chosen, it is time to position the boat. You notice that I did not say anchor. While many larger boats do anchor, GPS trolling motors have revolutionized grouper fishing, negating the need to anchor. Anglers who do anchor take the wind and tide into account and try to put the boat in the ideal spot. In most cases, the best approach is to place the boat a bit uptide of the structure that is going to be fished. That way when the baits are lowered, they will float back to the structure and fish. The same applies to chum. There is no sense in having it flow behind the structure. The deeper the water, the farther up current the boat should be placed. The same applies if one of the lighter rigs gets trashed by a big fish. This is a good sign that the grouper are active. I like to start with larger pieces of cut bait before using any live bait. Anglers can often catch a few on cut bait and then switch to live bait if the bite slows. However, it usually does not work when doing it the other way around. Another tip that I have learned is cold water. Grouper can be reluctant to chase around a live bait. A nice oily sardine slowly thawing on the bottom will often entice a grouper that is not actively feeding. I like to cut the sardine in half on a bias, increasing the scent in the water. Chum can be important when grouper fishing, but anglers will do best by starting off slowly. I have seen many times when a couple of sardines cut into small pieces and tossed overboard was all it took to get them going. Frozen blocks of chum are convenient and effective. Just remember that the fish should get excited, but not filled up. Novice anglers grouper fishing often miss the bite by trying to set the hook. This is especially true with circle hooks. The best approach is to keep the rod tip low, wait for a steady pull, then quickly reel while slowly raising the rod tip. This will not only hook the grouper, but hopefully get it a few feet from the structure. Drags are usually set very tight, no quarter can be given. While the vast majority of grouper are caught on natural bait, lures can be successful. In areas where gag grouper moves shallow, such as the west coast of Florida and the Bahamas, trolling large deep diving plugs is very effective. It is also a great way to find new spots. Jigs can also catch grouper. Vertically jigging butterfly jigs is a relatively new technique. It is often used in deeper water and eliminates the need to check the bait. Standard bucktail jigs work great, and often a strip of squid is added to sweeten up the offering. There are several species of grouper that anglers fishing the Gulf of Mexico, Atlantic Ocean, and Caribbean can target and catch. The Bahamas has a very that will not be covered. Most grouper species are similar in looks and habits. Red grouper are the most widely distributed grouper species. They are plentiful in the Gulf of Mexico. Most grouper purchased in stores and markets are red grouper. They are probably the easiest to catch as they seem to be less fussy. Cut bait works fine. Red grouper are often found on areas of hard bottom with little relief. Gag grouper are very popular in the areas where they live. They are caught shallower than the other grouper species, even inshore around docks and bridges. Many consider them the best to eat. Live baits can often be more effective. Trolling with plugs works great when grouper moves shallow.
와, 이거 진짜 동해바다 여왕님 올라온다.
Tuna has a long journey before it reaches the table. This time, I will report on the process from the beginning to the end, by accompanying Oma on a pole fishing trip in Katsumoto, Iki, famous for its pole fishing. How to feed tuna by reading the behavior of tuna, which swims at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, along with the ocean currents and terrain. It is the ingenuity and insight of the fisherman. He said, the ideal is to catch a tuna before you realize it has been caught. Fishing starts at 2 to 3 a.m. After fishing with live bait first, we arrive at the fishing spot around 5 a.m. The boat sails while searching for schools of tuna with a fish finder. On days when we don't catch fish, we don't catch fish. After enduring a simple battle of patience, you will win a great prize. Attach a fish.
됐어, 들어갔어.
Line to the back of a live bait such as mackerel or squid and throw it into the sea. Drop the fishing line into the sea. If there is no reaction, immediately lift it up and adjust the bait. I throw it back into the sea, then throw it back up, then throw it back up again. On days when I don't catch fish, I spend hours and hours but still can't catch them. A simple battle of patience continues. If there is a reaction, take the time to pull the tuna out so it doesn't go wild. Immediately after catching the fish, drain all the blood, remove the organs and gills, tighten the nerves in the tail and brain and freeze. They are kept cool in the ship's ice hold, then immediately soaked in ice after returning to port. If this sequence of operations is not carried out quickly, the tuna's body temperature will rise and the meat will burn, making it unsaleable. When unloading the fish, always turn the fish belly up to avoid crushing the soft belly. Be careful when adding ice so that the shine and sparkle of the skin are not lost. Large tuna weighing
잡으세요. 네, 잡으세요.
over 100 kilograms are placed in specially crafted wooden boxes. Protect the body and tail by wrapping them in plastic wrap to prevent ice from hitting and damaging them. After cooling overnight, it is transported to Tsukiji. Continuing for a long time is an absolute condition that is stronger than catching quantity. In that sense, Mr. Nakamura and his colleagues believe that high-quality pole and line tuna caught carefully will become new valuable tuna. Bluefin tuna supports a multi-billion-dollar market, with demand for their meat increasing most years. About $74 million worth of production happens in Baja California, Mexico alone. The European Union's tuna industry is dominated by Spain. The industry there is centered around the southeastern region of Murcia. Italy, Croatia and Malta have large farms. Much of the meat is exported to Japan or at least used to sushi. Much more skipjack tuna and yellowfin tuna are caught than bluefin tuna. Bluefin tuna doesn't even make it into the top 100 of the world's most caught fish. What makes it special is that it can fetch prices. A single bluefin tuna fish can be worth more than several nets full or herring or mackerel. Bluefin tuna accounted for 2.5%, or 56,828 tons, of the 2.35 million ton worldwide catch in 2003 of all kinds of tuna. Still this enough? Cause number to decline in many places. The WWF estimates the current fleet of is 70% larger than is needed for a sustainable catch. Lower prices encourage existing fishermen to catch more fish to compensate for losses. Because bluefin tuna fishing is so lucrative, the Italian, Asian and Russian mafia are involved. A scientist with the FAO told AP, one big tuna can be worth as much as the most expensive Mercedes-Benz. How do you expect criminal organizations not to want to be in it? Bluefin tuna have traditionally been caught by commercial fishermen with hooks and lines, purse seine and haul seine nets and harpoons. Small-scale operators often use hooks and spears. In Japan, bluefin tuna tend to be caught using the rod and line technique or long lines. In the Atlantic, they are often caught with spotter planes and harpoons that electrocute the fish dead with hundreds of volts of power. Favored fishing places include the Mediterranean, near the Azores and the waters off Boston. The bluefin tuna season in Cape Cod begins in late June when the fish migrate to the North Atlantic. Spotter planes used to find tuna generally get 25% of the money from the sale of the fish. Electric harpoons are preferred for killing the tuna because fish that are caught with a line fight for a long time, which raises their body temperature and produces an unwanted flavor called yaki. Immediately after being caught and brought on board, bluefin tuna caught off Cape Cod are gutted, instantly frozen at 76F and put in coffin-like containers packed with ice and often transported later that day via cargo jets to Japan. Even fish caught by sport fishermen often end up in Japan. Japanese wholesalers have contacts at sport fishing dock in Miami and other places. At many ports where bluefin are brought, tuna techs from Tsukiji educate American fishermen about the tuna's kata, or ideal form, and what to look for in color, texture, fish content and body shape. The bluefin tuna is also a prized sports fish, valued for its speed and fighting ability. Both Ernest Hemingway and Zane Grey fished for them. Big, old fish hiding in caves are pursued with almost weightless nylon Kevlar lines up to 750 meters long and equipped with lights and tiny cameras.
うまいこと海も慣れてきたぞ。まだで頑張りを持ってやる。
From May to October, you can enjoy everything from the vibrant yellowfin tuna fishing in the summer to the bluefin tuna, which is said to be the catch of a lifetime. Compared to a while ago, tuna casting has become more accessible and anyone can aim for it. Of course, the tools and methods have evolved, but we must not forget that the pioneering efforts of captains in each field and the efforts to protect the country's resources have gradually helped us move towards our dream goals. Well, this time we will introduce tools, equipment, hook selection, etc. for those who want to try it for the first time. Yellowfin tuna usually start migrating around May and peak from July to September, depending on the area. The average weight during this period is usually between 20 and 40 kilograms, with large fish weighing over 50 kilograms. Yellowfin tuna initially migrate in open waters, so their main prey is microbaits such as carp, squid, sardines and shrimp that explode from the continental shelf. One in the bay, it switches to medium-sized baits such as sardines and horse mackerel found in coastal areas. The response to bait at this time is amazing, and this is the case early in the season, so if you hit a good school, the large yellowfin will attack the bait in turn. We recommend handling the number 8 a little more aggressively. They usually respond well to lures, so when you have the chance, use strong lures that fly over 200 millimeters and a firm ST66 number 3 and 0 or higher. Once the initial high reaction period passes, the yellowfin will finally reveal its true potential. In high water temperatures, the stamina and strength of the yellowfin become extremely strong and their reaction to lures becomes more sensitive. Among tuna species, yellowfin tuna are considered to be particularly carnivorous, so it is necessary to match the lure to the size of the lure. During the period from July to September, it is best to prepare 3 types of lures: number 8, number 6 and number 5, so that you can throw lures of any size. For hooks, I definitely recommend ST66 and STX68. In the case of tuna, unlike bluefish, the inside of the mouth is mainly made up of thick skin and bones. If you use a single hook, the chance of it entering your mouth is much higher than with bluefish, where the head is definitely easy to catch meat. I use 3 times to increase the chance of getting it into the mouth. Also, in the case of large tuna, it is difficult to penetrate anything other than the catheter, and in most cases the hook will not be able to exert its initial strength and will stretch. This will depend on your luck, but choose the sturdy ST66, which does not break even when bent a little. In recent years, regulations have been introduced for this target, and it is gradually being considered a familiar target. The Aomori, Hokkaido, Shichiri and Hachiri holy places target ride is over 100 to 200 kilometers, which is an incredible level. For bluefin tuna up to 80 kilograms, you should be able to successfully catch bluefin using almost the same fishing method as for yellowfin. If you are aiming for 100 kilometers or more, the minimum is P10 and the standard is P12, so that's another level. The leader should...